Hey guys, welcome back to Loft Sports. I'm Tyler.
I'm Seth.
Today we're going to be reacting to the Week 4 of college football, the 2019 season. A lot of big games. We had 3 ranked versus ranked matchups.
Yep.
A little better slate than we had the previous week, but the week did not disappoint.
No, I mean, it really didn't. The Notre Dame-Georgia, the headline game of the week, was actually a good game. You guys actually played pretty good. Guys did come just short, but I think Notre Dame can be proud of their performance. If they run the table and there's a couple one-loss teams, they should be in the conversation. I'll say that.
Yeah,
they should be in the conversation. You guys shouldn't get in, but you should be in the conversation. If some teams really drop, if there's a couple of those elite teams end up with 2 losses, you could sneak your way back in, but losing that game did hurt your chances for sure.
Yeah, I mean, when you're not in a conference, you almost have to go 12-0.
You do.
But if you watch my reaction video, I actually think there's a way we can still get in.
Sure.
That very well could end up being the best loss any team has at the end of the season. I mean,
Georgia's a very good team. And
we're only in week 4. We got a long way to go.
Yep.
But as we're going to get to here in a minute, one of the conferences is virtually out of the discussion already potentially. So we got a chance, but we'll find out. A lot of football to be played. Another probably the second biggest storyline of the day. Wow, Wisconsin thoroughly dominates Michigan.
That was a game that I thought Michigan was going to lose. Harbaugh's had his struggles on the road against ranked teams. I did not expect that, though. That was a complete dismantling. That's almost like what you'd expect from a first-year setting your program with Harbaugh. And the thing with him, this was supposed to be his year. Urban Meyer's no longer at Ohio State. All his rivals are at home. A lot of preseason magazines, even Phil Steele, who's regarded as the guru of preseason and college football ratings, everything like that, had him in his playoff.
Yeah.
Not only did they not look like a playoff team, I said they were going to finish 3rd in their division, and the way they played yesterday, it looks like that might even be the best they can do. It's really bad in Ann Arbor right now. The pressure is officially on. That seat is officially hot.
Oh, it is smoldering. You might have been more right about Michigan than I was. This was my Big Ten championship game preview when we did our Big Ten preview back in July or whenever it was. I originally picked Michigan to win this game, but as the week leading up to in our videos last week, I changed my pick because Wisconsin had looked so dominant.
Yep.
But Michigan just looked like they didn't even want to be there after the second quarter. It was a thorough dismantling. They were getting gashed. Jonathan Taylor had like 200 yards on the ground.
Yeah, and I mean 120 of that was literally in the first 2 drives.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns, set the tone. It's just, it almost is like Harbaugh is all the way back to the drawing board. Like I said, almost he's in year 1 mode when it was supposed to be his year. And I'm sorry, when you have 2 weeks to prepare for Wisconsin, who's one of the easiest teams in the country to prepare for because they've done the same thing for a decade, and you're the 2nd highest paid coach in the country, with that fan base, they should be absolutely disgusted by his performance, his coaching in that game. I think it's officially time to say he's an overrated coach, and Michigan is officially an overrated program right now.
What can Michigan do to save their season?
I don't think there's a way to save it now.
I mean,
don't.
Obviously, if they went out and beat Ohio State,
but they're not going to. I don't even think they're going to beat Michigan State. Harbaugh's whole thing was physicality, and they were out. They were out Harbaugh'd by Wisconsin, who's one of the perennial physical teams. But this Wisconsin team was 7-5 last year. It's not like they're returning their standard 3 out of 5 of them are gonna their offensive lines going in the first 2 rounds. I mean, this isn't the best Wisconsin team physically, but they sure played like it. And Michigan State is just as physical. Ohio State is obviously just as physical and better skill. Notre Dame as well. Harbaugh's well on his way to an 8-4 year, and I don't think there's much to save it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll get more into Michigan as the seasons progress. Another big one down in the SEC, Auburn with a very impressive win at A&M.
Yeah, very impressive. I mean, Gus Malzahn was one of our coaches who we both thought were on his way out after the year, but he keeps winning big games, had the good win to start the year against Oregon. This was a very good win against a Jimbo Fisher Texas A&M team who was on the trend, played Clemson very tough for the first half or so in that game. Really good win for that program, and that is a potential win. Where as long as he beats the teams he's supposed to beat the rest of the year, it's a job-saving win.
I think we need to start talking about Auburn a little more seriously. I don't think they're quite to the level that we've seen from Alabama and LSU.
Or even Georgia.
Well, I'm just talking in the West.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, though. I had Auburn at 2-2 at this point when we did our preview of the SEC back in July. I feel like I owe Auburn fans an apology. I underestimated how good Bo Nix would be. You know, with a freshman, you can't really predict
you
that.
You never really know.
But they found a way to win against Oregon. I did predict last week they would win this game, but that defense is really solid, and if they continue to control games, I think they're going to be just fine. Now kind of shifting to an entire conference, the Pac-12 had a really bad week. Utah loses at USC, Arizona State loses at home to Colorado, and Washington State blows a 32-point lead against UCLA.
It really is officially time to just say the Pac-12 is eliminated from all playoff discussion at this point. Utah was their best chance. Washington State had an outside chance. Both of them lost. It's over for the Pac-12 already a month into the season.
There is one team that is still undefeated in the Pac-12. Pop quiz time. Do you know who it is?
I don't.
It's Cal.
Yeah,
Cal
Cal's
is
not
4-0. They actually won at Ole Miss on Saturday.
Yeah, they're not running the table.
They're not running the table. Oregon, you could make an argument if Auburn continues to impress.
No, because Oregon's going to drop another game or two.
Well, if they win out. I mean, we're still only in week 4. There's a lot of what-if scenarios. But it looks like the Pac-12, the door is about to close on them, which is great for Notre Dame considering they're showing against Georgia. And then another big storyline, UCF loses for the first time in the regular season in nearly 3 years.
Yeah, didn't see that coming. It's one of those typical games that Pitt just seems to come up with once a year.
Yeah.
Narduzzi is one of the most confusing coaches
He really
because
is.
his teams play so good, but the results don't always match it, and there's always game management things that cost them games. They're always that team that's in it, and then they blow it usually. They
find a way to beat great teams. It's so confusing.
It is. Great story though. UCF's been there the last, like you said, 2 or 3 years. You kind of always hate to see the moment where the bubble burst on those programs. They're still a very good team, but it's kind of like when Boise was challenging for the BCS talks back in the day of they should be allowed to play for the big one, and they finally started to lose a couple games in the regular season. That bubble popped. Now it's UCF's turn. I think this was the first bubble that's going to burst on them.
They can still make it to a New Year's Six Bowl.
Absolutely.
Because the best group of 5 team does get in. Now this opens the door for Cincinnati and Boise and some other teams.
Yep.
Houston's been very disappointing. I thought Houston was going to end up being the best group of 5 team. They're 1-3 and they're pretty much out of it already.
Yeah.
I will say this about UCF. And I don't want to trash talk UCF because they've done a fantastic job. But this is why there's always those critics out there. I know you took care of Stanford last week, but when you play back-to-back against a physical group, a Power 5 opponent,
it takes its toll.
It takes its toll. And Pittsburgh,
that's what I always said about Boise State. Boise State would beat Oregon or a really good Virginia Tech team to start the year. And then you basically play against what's equivalent of teams that are nowhere near your caliber. You don't take the hits week to week. Your bodies are always fresh, everything like that. By the time you actually play another real team, was in a really good bowl game, like against Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl.
And you've got time to prepare for it.
And you got your players are more rested just because of how easy the games are. That shows. I mean, that's like the Big Ten. That's why they have so much issues getting a playoff team, is just how physical it is. The teams just beat up on each other. I mean, that's just how it is in Power 5.
All right. Who looked good on Saturday?
Obviously, Wisconsin. That was the most impressive win. Notre Dame looked very good. Georgia, of course, winning that game. They looked really good as well. I don't think it was a case of Georgia playing bad. It was just 2 really good teams slugging it out. But the big winner of the day has to be Wisconsin.
I agree with that. I think Wisconsin thoroughly winning. That was probably the most impressive. I'm going to throw a couple names out there. Washington with a big bounce-back win against a hot BYU team on the road. Florida dismantled Tennessee. Yeah, but I thought this would be a little closer. Florida had struggled the last several weeks. Tennessee felt like they got a little confidence. Rivalry games. Well, this is a rivalry game. In rivalry games, you can throw out the record, but Florida took care of business. SMU beat TCU on the road. They're 4-0 for what it is, but that was a big win for them. And then Missouri took care of business against South Carolina. Pretty impressive win for the Tigers, who looked bad.
You have to start with Washington State. Washington State had a chance to kind of take their, the stranglehold on the conference and say, we're the team.
Their quarterback threw 9 touchdowns, and we're saying they looked bad, but their defense did.
When you lose a game like that, and you blow a 32-point lead, it's just something that you can't recover from. I think it messes with them the next couple weeks. Could even have another trip up. Getting into Pac-12 play, it doesn't get really any easier for them. So they're the team that looked the worst to me. I think you have to say that.
I would agree. Miami barely beat Central Michigan. Their season is teetering. And then Arizona State. I would have really thought after a big win against Michigan State on the road, they would have had some sense of urgency against a Colorado team that's not terrible, but didn't show very good against Air Force the week before.
No.
They mess around and lose at home. Now their season is on the ropes as well. So who's your player of the week?
Yeah, I got to give it to Jonathan Taylor. They're the most impressive team. He was the most impressive player on that team. First 2 drives, 12 carries, 140 yards, I think is what it was. 2 touchdowns, including a big 60-yard touchdown run. Michigan never recovered from that point. He single-handedly took the game over and punched Michigan and Harbaugh right in the face.
I'm going to go with Matt Fink, third-string quarterback to start the year at Southern Cal. We know about JT Daniels. Slovis goes down early in this game against Utah, physical Utah team with one of the best fronts in the country.
Absolutely.
And the dude throws for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns and leads them to a huge season-saving divisional win.
Yep.
USC now in the driver's seat in the pack. All right, guys, that's our take on the games this past weekend. Stay tuned. We got some more videos coming up, some big games for the Huskers and the Irish coming up this week, so we'll have those videos out later. This is Loft Sports. I know your dream job would be to cover the Huskers, but I don't know if you could do it without getting fired. Let's go to Champaign with Seth Williamson. First of all, what the